Welcome to another day. This is another episode of our new What's Happening in the Forex Market today. Yes, and of course, we always say the first thing we need to do is what? Is to check the calendar, right? We always ensure that we check the calendar to be sure of what's happening in the market. And of course, this calendar has to do with the news calendar. This news calendar is where we get all the news coming out for the day, for the week, for the month. And we like to look at it from every week, right? So from yesterday, we talked about Monday. There was no news whatsoever, as you can see. And then today is Tuesday, January the 16th. And of course, from 8 a.m. West African time, we have the first news coming up for pounds, the claimant count change. Don't forget, we've worked on all the impact for them to be red, high impact, because these are the news that tend to move the market. These are the news that tend to bring in fresh and heavy volatility in the market. So as a quick advice, you don't know what's going on in the market, the best thing to do is to be on the sidelines. And going over to 2:30 p.m. UK time, right? 2:30 p.m. UK time, we have news for the CPI, right, for CAD. Remember last week we had news for the CPI for the USD, but this time around is for the CAD. And then we have the USD, also the Empire State Manufacturing Index. So expect some fresh volatility for CAD and also for the dollar, right? So this is something that we need to pay close attention to today, especially by 2:30. Yesterday, I don't know whether you noticed that based on the dollar, right? Yesterday, based on the dollar, that is the USD, right? That the market was rather sideways, was rather slow. For the USD, the dollar index, the DXY, the market was rather slow. And of course, the market has said to pick up today. So if you look at what we have today, this is the DXY right in front of us today. And if you look very well, you see that it has broken out of that area, that key area right in front of us, right? As it has broken out of that area, we should now expect that resistance to now act as support. And this is what we're talking about. This is the area, resistance. We talked about this yesterday. Resistance, a whole bunch of resistance, but then it has broken out. So we're expecting this area to act as support and then push higher to where? Higher to this point over here of the next resistance. So let's see how this plays out accordingly. And based on what we have here, right, that the opposite will be the case for the Euro USD. I repeat, the opposite will be the case for the Euro USD. But before we even jump into the Euro USD, a quick disclaimer for you that the information that we are sharing is strictly for educational purposes. Please, if you're going to place trades based on what we're dishing out, always ensure that your risk management is good to go. And then also ensure that your trade management also is good to go. So don't forget the news, the calendar is very key. Always check to make sure that there is no heavy movement in the market that could cause some serious movement and get you, off guard. So you need to be aware of what's coming out so that you don't enter any trade. Some traders could place a trade without stop loss and then they're doing it prior to the news, which they are not aware of. And then the market just goes crazy all of a sudden and they're wondering why, right? So Euro USD, we're going to be looking at the Euro USD currency pair now, right? And for this Euro USD currency pair, you see clearly that from yesterday, we talked about the range, right? This sideways action, of course, this was from last week. So what we're looking out for here is a possible, you can see it's getting closer to this area of support over here, right? So we're looking for a possible drop and maybe a bounce from here, or maybe a break and then pull back and use it to drop further. Don't forget, we always say that the USD should be used as a big clue. The USD should be used as a big clue as to what we should be expecting in the market for the major currency pairs and even also for gold as an example, right? Very key, very, very important that we pay attention to the DXY and what the DXY is up to, right? So This is the Euro USD that we have just looked at quickly, and we have to wait for further clues as to what the market wants to do, especially as the news for the USD is around the corner later today, and that should be about 7 hours from now, right? So apart from this, we're also going to quickly take a look at the cable, which is popularly known as the GBP USD. I repeat, we're going to take a look at the cable, which is popularly known as the GBP USD. And I'm going to explain this now from two time frames perspective. The first one we have here is the 1 hour. You can see GBP USD 1 hour. Don't forget, guys, we are doing this as a continuous series episodes based on what's happening in the forex market. So if you are enjoying what you see over here, well, we always say one thing you could always do, right, is what is to hit the subscribe button, right? Like and comment, hit the subscribe button, like and comment, which is very key, which will help us to grow and also help you to know when we post videos like this early in the morning, right? And of course, that's early London session or just before London session rather, so that you can be more than prepared for the London and also the New York sessions. So quickly back to the GBP USD. Now GBP USD has broken out of this area here, which was supposed to act as support. And you might be wondering, why is there a sell position here at the support? Our entry was based on what we saw over here on the 4 hours time frame. And as we said, we're going to show you this based on the hourly and also based on the 4 hours time frame so that you don't get confused. Now from this 4 hours time frame, you can see we had this over here, this wedge. We talked about this yesterday. Please always refer to the previous videos so that you have a better understanding of the story of what we're discussing here. So if you look closely over here, we had a breakout here, and this was what prompted us to place our trade here. And you can see it's a sell, it's in some profit now, stop loss here. Ideally, you'd have loved for your take profit to be here, right, as a conservative play. But I'm going to show you where I'm looking out for. I'm looking out for to see if price will get to this area here. Let me just make some adjustments to see if price will get to this area over here. And if you look closely, you have an area here of like resistance, some support over here, support, support. So this will act as a flip zone. So I'd like to see the price push to this point here of support from the range, as you can see, maybe bounce a bit or maybe even break and then pull back to that area and use it to drop further down. Now, if this were to be the case, this would be a good profit of over just over 200 pips thereabouts, right? Or we can just say maximum of 200 pips. Now, this is based on what we can see from the 4 hours time frame. You can see it has been in an uptrend, it was ranging, and then we had this wedge over here. And then the breakout of the wedge was what gave us the trigger to jump in on the GBP USD. And then it's in a bit of profit for now. You could always still pull back, who knows? I don't know. But what we are doing after conducting our analysis is to wait for the market to continue to do its thing. And then we do what? We just follow through at the end of the day. Now we're going to try our best. We're going to try as much as possible, right, not to make these videos too lengthy so that you can watch them. And that's why we're going straight to the point, talking about these instruments here. Like AED USD, if you trade it, the next thing to look out for is the pullback to this area that was former support, as you can see. So it should act as resistance and then drop further down. And then you look for other instruments that you could take advantage of. Don't forget to pay attention to the dollar index today. That's the USD, the DXY, especially based on the high impact news coming out at 2:30 p.m. West African time. I repeat, 2:30 p.m. West African time. So as we are gradually rounding up, don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, right? You can comment in the section below. Very key, very important. You can also hit the subscribe button, like and comment with your questions, with your observations, whatever the case might be. You want us to have a look at any currency pair, also let us know. Very key, very important. And we would try as much as possible to do that within the short period of time that we have. Another thing to take note of, right? Another thing to take note of is we have this here, our school, which is known as the csaforex.com/school, training.csaforex.com/school. And on this school that we have, you have a lot of information there. I'm just going to switch over quickly before we round up, where you can get more information. So this is it here. This is the school. You can see if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Ignorance, that's from Jeff Rich, the popular quote. And the truth now is that education is very key, but most traders, they fail to get the education first of all. So first of all, what you need to do is to come over here and watch the webinar, right? It's a free webinar that would explain to you how to approach the market, the fundamentals, the technicals, and the likes. Open demo account if you don't have any. And other information here, we normally run beginners courses, right? So click here to sign up for the next one, and a whole lot of other information that we have for you here. I like this one, position size calculator. If you are struggling with risk management, then of course click on it, and then it brings you here where you can easily put in your account balance, risk percentage, and the rest of them. So all you have to do is what? All you have to do is to start making use of it. And if you have any question whatsoever, feel free to ask, right? Very key, very important. Now, with that said, we want to say thank you guys for watching. We hope that you've been able to take advantage of the information that we have shared, where we have looked at, as an example, the USD and what we're expecting from the USD, especially based on the news that we have coming out later today, right? If you check the calendar again, you see what we're talking about at 2:30 p.m., right? We have news coming out, not just for CAD, right, but also for the US dollar, 2:30 p.m. West African time. Oh, sorry, that's Wednesday, sorry. 2:30 p.m. here, USD, right? Empire State Manufacturing Index. And by the way, we have news on the dollar every other day, Thursday, and then Friday as well. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button, share, ask questions, and of course, we'll get back to you if you have any question whatsoever. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day and trade safely. Goodbye for now. Cheers.